Everybody. So I'm again here with you, and today I'm going to discuss a very important aspect of National Green Tribunal as a part of our environment curriculum. I would like to make a very important aspect before you. I would like to discuss that aspect because that aspect is a very essential kind of an aspect. But before that, I would like to make a very important request before your kind perusal. Please stay at home and follow the government instructions. The whole of the world is facing a very severe crisis, and we can, and together we will definitely, you know, will overcome this challenge. It can only be done when you will show the conviction that you will not go outside. Because if we will not go outside, we are not only safe, but others are also safe. So let's make a pledge that we will remain home and be safe. So, if you remember, last time when we were taking classes, I was discussing environment law, and specifically, I was on third unit, and I've completed Environment Protection Act, and I was about to start National Green Tribunal, but because of the circumstances, we weren't able to uh, continue the same. But today, I'll try my level best to apprise you of the whole concept of National Green Tribunal Act 2010. My dear students, National Green Tribunal is a specialized body set up under the National Green Tribunal Act 2010 for effective and expeditious administration of justice in the environmental matters. With the establishment of the NGT, India became the third country in the whole of the world after Australia and New Zealand to have its own environmental jurisdiction, that is known as Environment National Green Tribunal. You can understand that being a third country in the whole of the world, it's a big deal. It's not an easy task. And that too in considerations when the whole of the world is facing a very severe crisis of environmental degradation. So it's a very positive step, National Green Tribunal Act 2010. NGT is mandated for the disposal of cases within a period of 6 months. Suppose if you file a plea or an appeal before the National Green Tribunal, it will be settled within 6 months. That is what is the law. Just understand that how speedy justice is delivered under National Green Tribunal Act 2010, and that too for the environmental concerns. Environment is very important criteria, and even the Honorable Supreme Court of India also held that right to life includes right to healthy environment, which is part and parcel of Article 21 of the Constitution of India. So it is important to understand that National Green Tribunal Act is mandated to dispose of all matters pertaining to environmental considerations. National Green Tribunal has 5 sittings: principal bench in New Delhi, and other sittings are Bhopal, Pune, Kolkata, and Chennai. As far as the structure of NGT is concerned, the tribunal has chairperson, judicial members, and expert members from different aspects of governance. They shall hold office for a period of 5 years and are not eligible for the reappointment. Now that is something which is a very important kind of a criteria. The chairman or the chairperson is appointed by the central government in consultation with the Chief Justice of India. The chairman and the whole of the board is selected through a process which is initiated by the central government, and that is by the virtue of National Green Tribunal Act 2010. A selection committee shall be framed by the central government to appoint the judicial members and the expert members. There are at least 10 and maximum 20 full-time members, all including judicial and expert members in the National Green Tribunal. We also have to keep in mind that when it comes to the powers and jurisdictions, the tribunal has jurisdiction over all civil cases involving substantial question of law, which deals with the environmental concerns, including enforcement of any legal right relating to environment. Being a statutory adjudicatory body, entity is like a court. It do have an original jurisdiction, and it is also a court of appeal. So the best part is that it do have both the jurisdiction. One is original one, another one is appellate. The tribunal is not bound by the Code of Civil Procedure 1908, Civil Procedure Code 1908, and it is guided by the principle of natural justice. Now, this is something which is a very important kind of a criteria. Principle of natural justice is a very important principle of administrative law, and you must understand that it is a very important principle of law. So, National Green Tribunal is not bound by 1908 Civil Procedure Code, but it is guided by the principle of natural justice. Now, while passing orders or decisions or awards, it shall apply the principle of sustainable development, precautionary principle, and polity-based principle. These are three important principles, and this is something which is a very, very important kind of a criteria. And we have discussed these principles in our class, and just to apprise you and to just recollect the important information, let me tell you that the Honorable Supreme Court in 1996 held Justice Kuldeep Singh, the judge of the Supreme Court in Kamalnath versus Union of India, held that precautionary principle and polity-based principle is one of the most important principles for environmental concerns and for environmental jurisdictions. The person who pollutes, he will have to pay. That is what is polity-based principle. And the precautionary principle means that that every person or every industry which is indulged in any kind of manufacturing must take precaution while handling hazardous substances which are defined under the Environment Protection Act. We have discussed that particular part. So it is a very important kind of a criteria at this point of time. You need to understand. And sustainable development. Without compromising our future resources, we will have to make optimum utilization of resources. That is what is sustainable development. So these are three important principles wherein the entity decides the matters. When it comes to the penalty for non-compliance, entity has a jurisdiction and the power to imprisonment, to provide imprisonment for a term which may extend to 3 years, a fine which may extend to 10 crore rupees. And now with the passage of time, the way the National Green Tribunal is dispensing justice in environmental matters, it can extend to thousands of crores also. So entity do have both the jurisdiction, both to fine and imprisonment. An appeal against any order, decision of the entity shall lie before the Supreme Court of India, generally within 90 days from the date of the decision rendered by the entity. Now, it is also important to understand that NGT deals with 7 different laws relating to environmental concerns. Different environmental concerns. 7 laws. Number one, the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. Number two, the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 19 SES Act 1977, the Forest Conservation Act 1980, the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981, the Environment Protection Act 1986, the Public Liability Insurance Act 1991, the Biological Diversity Act 2002. Now these are the important areas. These are the important legislations by the virtue of which we decide the NGT decides. Now when it comes to the strength of NGT, let me tell you this fact that over the years NGT plays a very crucial role in administering justice for the environmental concerns, ranging from deforestation to pollution and to waste management. Now this is something which is very, very fantastic. Waste management is a very important area. NGT offer a path of evolution of environmental jurisprudence by setting an alternate dispute resolution mechanism. Now this is something which is also a very important kind of an aspect, and it has its own criterions. It has its own significance also. It plays a role in curbing environmental damages. It also helps in reducing litigations in high courts and the Supreme Court, because now we have a separate jurisdiction, a separate tribunal which deals with the environmental concerns, and the best part is that tribunal is National Green Tribunal. So while deciding the jurisdictions, the NGT has to face challenges also, and these challenges are very severe challenges, like two important acts like Wildlife Protection Act 1972 and the Scheduled Tribes and Other Traditional Forest Dwellers Regulation of Forest Rights Act 2006. These two jurisdictions, Wildlife Protection Act and this Forest Dwellers Act, these are both kept out of the NGT jurisdiction. And let me tell you this fact that both are directly connected with the environment. But this is a very serious challenge the NGT is facing at this point of time. They don't have the jurisdiction to decide these matters. NGT's decisions sometimes, because that is what is the procedure, can also be taken up in form of the writ jurisdictions under Article 226 and Article 32 of the Constitution of India. Under Article 226 before the High Court in writ jurisdiction, under Article 32 before the Supreme Court as a public interest litigation. So this is a very severe challenge the NGT is facing at this point of time, and this is something which is very, very important and interesting. Now, sometimes, we need to understand that no act, fulfills its intentions and objective unless and until the jurisprudence regarding that particular act is rendered by the Supreme Court or the High Courts. But the beauty of this tribunal jurisdiction is that it is at par when it comes to environmental law. And even the Supreme Court and the High Court, they are also not overruling the judgments of the Supreme Court and the High Court of the National Green Tribunal. Most of the time it has been seen that the High Courts are upholding the decisions of the National Green Tribunal and even the Supreme Court in most of the cases. If I'll just present few cases before you, the one is 2012 POSCO, steel company. POSCO Steel Company case is a very famous case. It is of Orissa. An MOU was signed by the government to set up a steel project. NGT suspend that order and held that it was against the forest and it was against the natural flora, fauna and rivers. Then another judgment was 2012 Almitra Private Limited. Almitra Private Limited versus Union of India. NGT gave a jurisdiction that there is a complete ban on open burning of waste in public, including landfills, regarded as the single biggest polluters, and hence made this distinction that it all come within the domain of the solid waste management in India. So it opened a Pandora box. NGT held that there is now a complete ban on open burning of any kind of solid waste. Now this is something which is very, very important. In 2013, in Uttarakhand flood case, in Alaknanda hydropower company case, it ordered to compensate the petitioner and uphold the principle of polluter pays. The point is that you will have to relocate people. You will have to pay for their land because they are the real their forefathers and all belongs to that land and they deserve a compensation whenever you start any hydro project. In 2015, the NGT ordered to ban all diesel vehicles of 10 years in Delhi NCR. All diesel vehicles who have completed 10 years of their manufacturing, they are not allowed to run in the Delhi NCR area. Fantastic judgment, a very important judgment. In 2017, the NGT imposed ban on 50 micron. NGT imposed a ban on less than 50 micron plastic, in Delhi because they were causing animal deaths, clogging sewers, and harmful to the environment as a whole. Now you can understand this is a very serious problem. Everybody is keeping that plastic, and let me tell you, when you understand this deliberation of environment law, and every day when you use that plastic, let us take pledge against plastic. It's a very important kind of a criteria. Plastic is killing us every day in every aspect. The whole of the world is facing a very severe crisis. More than trillions and trillions of plastic waste is now submerging in the seas and causing very severe damage to all of us. Now the time has come when we will have to think about it. These jurisdictions which have been given by the National Green Tribunal, is an eye opener, and I believe that by understanding this new law, which has almost now 10 years, is a new kind of an jurisdiction and new kind of a jurisprudence. It is evolving every day, new kind of jurisprudence, which is very, very essential because, see, it's ecological balance which is important. And to some extent, you can understand that if we do not respect environment, if we do not respect our ecology, then the results are disastrous for the whole of the world. To some extent, every day we are seeing this. So my request to you is that kindly go through this particular aspect of NGT. It is available on I have posted it from different sources. I have posted that e-content on our website, Lucknow University website. You can check it and you can understand this particular deliberation of National Green Tribunal Act 2010 through this discussion. I hope that you are safe in your house, remain in your house, not for the sake of yourself, but for the sake of the whole of the world. Thank you very much for the whole of the society, you are required to be at home. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye bye. See you another time with next point of contention. Thank you.